You're doing multiple things at the same time, and when you're doing multiple things, you start becoming more creative with respect to ideas, strategies, building companies.
If you don't put yourself in a different environment,
Correct.
आपको stimulus नहीं मिलता growth के लिए.
Like booking a turf anytime through an app. We started building that, but unfortunately, because there were too many people, it didn't work out.
Entrepreneurship makes you feel excited about failures. That is what I've learned.
Global shipping overall constitutes about 3% of the overall CO2 emissions, which translates to about 1 billion metric tons. This is what we are trying to see.
Every entrepreneur is accountable, but not necessarily every employee is.
Starting a business is not something which can be taught. You have to learn it. It's a process. It's an experience which you learn over time.
Does it make you feared or does it excite you? So if you're someone who's trying to figure out, should I stay in a job? Should I build something of my own? क्या मुश्किलें आएंगी उसके अंदर? What kind of a mindset should I have when I'm trying to build something of my own? आज का podcast आपके लिए ही है. Take a book, start taking notes, and you will know exactly what you need to do in this journey. Because today I have Akshay Jain, who's the founder of Zipro, and more importantly, what we have discussed in this 1 hour of podcast is what exactly you need to do to take that decision. Should you take that decision? Enjoy the episode on Dream with Neeraj Show. Hi Akshay, welcome to Dream with Neeraj Show.
Thank you, Neeraj.
So Akshay, आज है ना मेरे को एक intention रखनी है आपके साथ में, and that intention is that you have always tried to build something of your own, right? And you have never gone into this job path of the life. तो आज का जो एपिसोड होगा वो एक सिंपल से प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करेगा, दैट इज कि आप एक जॉब माइंडसेट से एक एंटरप्रेन्योरियल माइंडसेट पे कैसे आओ, एंड शुड यू टेक दैट रिस्क.
Correct.
And now I would love you to introduce yourself, what you are trying to build right now, and then we will talk about Akshay.
Okay. So I'm building Zipro, which is a peer-to-peer on-demand delivery platform, which is trying to solve a problem for moving parcels from one country to another in a very eco-friendly manner.
Got it. Now, first 15 minutes, what I want to focus is why did you choose this path, right? Why startup over a job?
So I've always been drawn to this idea of building something from scratch. Job gives you that kind of stability and security, but it comes with a lot of limitations. Your impact is defined by the role you are in.
Correct.
While entrepreneurship or businesses, on the other hand, it gives you the freedom to innovate, to build, and just to go all out. So I think that idea, that sense of doing something of your own, on your own, and building something and seeing the impact, real-time impact of what you are doing, gives you the freedom to go all out and do something of your own rather than sticking to that standard path which usually people follow.
Is it true to say, what you're trying to say is कि एक entrepreneur is more creative than a job guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, because of simple reasons. While you're working at a job, you're just focused on specific roles and responsibilities. While being an entrepreneur, you don multiple hats. One day you're doing sales, another day you're doing operations. You're working on building some tech, learning something about coding because your company needs it. So you have to get those things done. So you're doing multiple things at the same time, and when you're doing multiple things, you start becoming more creative with respect to ideas, strategies, building companies. And that is where the kind of when we look at that is where creativity unlocks new potential opportunities for the business and for you.
True. I think it's about the environment. I have said this on multiple podcasts.
Yes.
मतलब होता ये है कि if you don't put yourself in a different environment,
Correct.
आपको stimulus नहीं मिलता growth के लिए.
Correct, which is fair enough because if you're working at a job, of course you will be you may be a director or you may be a partner or whatever it is, but you are bounded by certain guidelines and certain rules, and you cannot cross them. Correct, because you are working in a corporate. While when you're working at a startup or a small company, or if you're starting up, there are no rules. You just have to get those things done by hook or crook. You have to get them done. So that is where creativity comes in, and that is where results come in as well, and much quicker and more efficient manner rather than those standard timelines where you have to follow processes with documentation and all those things which unnecessarily delays the process as well as results.
Interesting. But I have transitioned from an employee to now an entrepreneur. So I'm a first generation entrepreneur in my family, let's say. I don't know, are you a first generation or has...
So my entire family has been into business. My
Wow.
father, my grandfather, my uncles, all have been into their own businesses. Luckily, it's not a family business. We all are into separate businesses. Since childhood, I used to foresee things where there are problems, and you start finding solutions to that, identifying different market inefficiencies in some way or the other. During my college days as well, we used to brainstorm with my friends on multiple ideas. We even started a couple of businesses, working on a couple of ideas after bouncing some ideas off. Which was one was into turf, which was, I think, only a couple of players were doing, like booking a turf anytime through an app.
Got it.
And we started building that, but unfortunately, because there were too many people, it didn't work out. But being around in that environment, being around those kind of people who are into business, who want to get into business or who are business oriented, it just motivates you. It just gives you that extra edge over others. That I want to get into this, and this is the only option I have.
Entrepreneurship makes you feel excited about failures. That is what I've learned. Because when you solve a problem, and you might not be able to completely solve it, you learn from it, you move on to a next problem, and you take all of the knowledge that you have learned in solving this problem. Maybe the tough thing did not work for you, but I'm sure that it taught you.
It gave us some lessons.
Exactly.
Yes.
And this will exactly scare some people. And it will also make some people very, very excited.
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of people say that, in business, you shouldn't have multiple partners, business owners or anything. We learned it firsthand. We were about eight friends who wanted to work on his idea, but all of us couldn't jump on the ship together. There were some people who were coming, some people who weren't coming. There were a lot of problems that way. So we learned it firsthand. One thing is clear, that you cannot have 8 partners, 8 minds working on one problem all together at the same time. So that was one lesson we learned quite early, and all of us did, and all of them are doing really well for themselves right now. Businesses, scaling up businesses, left, right, and center. So yeah.
So basically, मैं ये बोल सकता हूँ, because since you are a Marwadi and I'm a Punjabi, तो Marwadi, Punjabi, Gujarati, I think typically एक धंधे वाला mindset कहीं ना कहीं होता है.
It's in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Yeah.
And I think I was gonna ask you this, कि ये जोश कहाँ से आया, फितूर कहाँ से आया, that I want to become an entrepreneur. But now since you have mentioned all of this, I can tell that वो ना एक infectious सी चीज़ होती है, that when you see the zeal of someone solving a problem,
correct,
you try to replicate that.
Correct.
As a kid.
Correct.
Because as a kid, बच्चे को puzzle देते हैं हम.
Correct.
To stimulate the brain of that kid कि okay, this is the aptitude that we want to develop. But in, I say, second generation or third generation entrepreneurship, that puzzle is business itself. कि यार कौन सी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं पापा, कौन सी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व कर रहे हैं,
exactly,
करते क्या हो, बताओ तो सही.
It's as simple. You just treat it as a game. I treat it as a game. When you treat it as a game, if you enjoy doing that, it doesn't feel like a chore. It doesn't feel like work anymore. That is what a lot of people try and say, and a lot of people are not able to connect is कि यार, how can, if you're working, how can that not called be work? But for someone who's into it, it's not work. Like if I'm on my laptop on a Sunday afternoon, I wouldn't call it work. Is this something I want to do, and I'm doing it out of my own thing? Nobody's asking me to do it. That particular problem needs to be tended at that point, and we are doing it. That's what it is, and that's what it takes. It doesn't feel like an effort to you when you're working on the idea on your own business. You treat it as your own baby. You ask any mother, when she's working on a kid, or she's tending to a kid, or she's doing anything for them, does it feel like a chore? Of course she'll get tired because she's been on the ground, but she would do it that regularly, day by day, every day. She would put in that hard work or whatever it requires to make sure the baby is all right. So it doesn't feel like a chore to her. Of course you'll feel tired, but it wouldn't feel like a chore.
Yeah, if I have to summarize this whole intention that you have said, which is very beautiful, is that every entrepreneur is accountable, but not necessarily every employee is.
To a certain extent. If you have a small team, then of course, whatever work you do, it creates an impact on the overall business. But apart from that, yes, if you're leading a team, if you're leading a department, if you're leading a product development or something, you would have much more impact than someone who's maybe 2-3 levels below you. Correct? And it is upon you. Even at a job, you can create an impact at a job as well. It's just that you need to take more responsibilities. You need to be more proactive with respect to things, and of course, you can create that kind of impact at a job as well.
So I have had both of these hats. ठीक है. एंड मेरा इसमें इंटरेस्टिंग सा टेक ये लगता है मुझे that when you own something, when you create something, you held yourself accountable for it. Right?
Yes.
And as an employee, what I've seen is that initially you need a little bit of motivation. It can be finance, it can be money, it can be a promotion for you to reach that accountability level that an entrepreneur would have from day one.
Correct.
तो मुझे जो मेजर डिफरेंस लगता है, बिकॉज दिस होल पॉडकास्ट इज रिवॉल्विंग अराउंड कि अगर आप अपनी लाइफ में वो रिस्क लेना चाहते हो टू बिल्ड समथिंग ऑफ योर ओन, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड इट कि इफ यू डोंट वर्क नथिंग हैपेंस.
Exactly. You don't, the needle doesn't move.
Yeah.
Correct.
In a job, even if you don't work, maybe somebody in your team gonna cover it up, maybe your boss is gonna scold you and make you better in terms of feedback, but गाड़ी रुकेगी नहीं तुम्हारे रुकने से.
Exactly.
But if you own something that you have created and you don't take the responsibility about it, neither will your team do that, because that attitude gets replicated down the line. And this is a very different, like, important difference in the mindset
Correct.
of an entrepreneur or somebody who's just trying to follow a very conventional path.
Correct. Correct.
Do you agree on this?
I absolutely agree with this, that, you know, whatever work, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you are someone at a very high position at a company as well, whatever your day-to-day actions, your decisions, they create an impact in some way or the other
Exactly.
to the business. Correct? So you need to be more accountable towards that. Even if you're working at a job, it's fine. But you need to be accountable that this is what I'm doing and this is what you should know what impact this will create. Correct? If you know that, then you have that extra motivation. Okay, okay, I am here, and if I do this, then this ball would be moved from year to year. Then that gives you that extra edge. You know, that the edge you require while in your initial days of your career. You may not want to start a business. Starting a business is not, something which can be taught. You have to learn it. It's a process. It's an experience which you learn over time. And that is, even I am learning, and even someone who's 60 or 70, he would say the same thing, that they're still learning. Correct? Because there are multiple facets in the business aspect of it, and you need to work on different things at different times, and the process never ends. It's a never-ending process, learning process.
One thing that I would love to ask you is, I'm pretty sure what you would answer, but I would love to hear your thoughts, is that we touched upon this, is uncertainty as an entrepreneur. जब आप खुद का कुछ भी create कर रहे हो, right, there is a lot of uncertainty, whether it will work out, whether it will not work out, whether I would survive on this thing, because as a salaried employee you get a salary fixed, 30 पे आ गया message credited.
Correct.
Right? But in this whole different unconventional path, I would say, does it make you feared or does it excite you? या combination चलता है कि कभी डर लगता है और कभी excitement भी होती है. I want to know your take on this.
So it's a combination of both fear and excitement. Of course, fear is always there. No, I wouldn't deny that. But what happens is, whenever the fear creeps in that, you know, this is not working out, or something, this product is not looking well, or we need to change something, or you know, there's self-doubt. One thing I look at is the bigger picture. Okay, this is what we are trying to build. Correct? There would be days where the ball isn't moving. There would be days where the ball is moving 3-4 yards or whatever it is. Correct? So you need to focus on the bigger picture, and that bigger picture will give you that kind of excitement and that push which you require on that particular day when you're feeling low, or when you feel that fear in. And I think that is what keeps a lot of entrepreneurs going. You know, I know I have to build this. We are working towards this. Let's get there. Fear will be there at every point. Even if you're doing $10,000 of business, or you're doing $10 million of business, every time there would be fear, because you want to scale to new heights. So fear is a part of it. You just need to find the right balance. Then fear needs to be there. Otherwise, the process wouldn't be as much fun. Correct? You're just going in one direction and there's nothing else. So fear and excitement needs to be there. It's a combination of both, and it works out really well for entrepreneurs at least.
I think very beautifully answered, because I think ये push pull का एक train है. You know, it's like a push pull train. Fear आपको थोड़ा सा धक्का देगा, and then you get excited, you pull yourself up.
Exactly.
It's like fear pushes you when you are
excitement pulls you up.
Excitement pulls you up. So I think it's very, very important to say this, because when I was in Bangalore for a keynote, I met a lot of Shark Tank people where I shared stage with them. And one thing that I've realized is that all of those founders, right, they have the same thing. No matter at what pinnacle you go, you are 100% invested at day 1, at day 100, at day 1000, right? Because you know that as soon as you come out of that tap, you get feared ki, okay, is somebody else working with the same passion, or is it going in the right direction?
Correct.
So it is very rightly said that डर तो आपको लगेगा, बट वो इट्स अ क्लीशे लाइन है, डर के आगे जीत है.
Exactly. वैसे ही चलेगा वो.
वैसे ही चलेगा वो. Very beautifully summarized. So I think somebody who can't handle fear to a level needs to understand this कि अगर आप इस जोन में आ रहे हो तो आपको बहुत सारे ऐसे फेजेस आएंगे जहाँ पे आपको सेल्फ डाउट होगा.
Correct.
Whether you get funding, whether you are in the seed round, whether after even getting the funding, you have to tell the investors कि भाई क्या हुआ है, क्या projection है, क्या results है. You might not get another level of funding.
Correct.
So, fear तो हमेशा ही है, part of the process. So you need to be a better handler of your emotion.
Correct.
Which leads me to next question is that you have Latika also, like which is founder of LR, and she is here in the studio as well today supporting you. And since you are a couple who are both into entrepreneurship, does it help you in some way because you have, I think, very similar mindset or facing a similar cup of problems? Does it help in day-to-day life?
Yes, absolutely. So, see, business is all about problem solving, correct? So, on a daily basis, there are multiple fires that need to be put out. Where there would be operational issues, there would be tech glitches, something or the other.
Yeah.
And you need to just be there, just putting out the fire in some way or the other. Now, working alongside Latika on different businesses, we understand that we understand the startup grind, what it requires to go from 0 to 1, correct? And that is what makes it much easier for us to understand and support each other in each other's life. Okay, this is where we are at. This is not what's happening. This is not going as per the plan. This is how we'll navigate through this. So we support each other in that way. Where, of course, everyone has low days, high days, or whatever it is, correct? So we support each other in that way, that because we understand the problem, we understand it firsthand because we have experienced it firsthand, and we are experiencing it firsthand. It becomes easier for the other person to show that kind of empathy which is required at that particular point. Probably she wouldn't require a solution to the problem, just needs me to be there, just hear it out, and then we'll move on to the next thing. So yeah, this is what it is.
So I'll tell you why I asked this question is because I feel as an entrepreneur, you need to have some kind of support system, both emotional and somebody who understands the journey. In your case, you are lucky enough to have a partner.
Correct.
Right? And in my case, it is my co-founder Piyush.
Correct.
Right? I feel this, which is a very beautiful balance, is that when you start and you are an entrepreneur journey, especially for a first generation entrepreneur, you might be learning, everything that you learn is very new to you. Because you don't have an, let's say, inclination from your family that will understand why you are taking an entrepreneur thing. Because they have lived with a lot of safety. That's why you are a first generation entrepreneur.
Correct.
Right? So when you have a support system to divide that task, or let's suppose I am here shooting a podcast with you, Piyush might be working with some other client, or Piyush might be doing and taking out some other fires. Now it becomes mentally more easier for me to know that even if I'm not there, there is somebody who's owning up at the same level as I do.
Correct.
Right? Correct. So I 100% all in go for a co-founder to have for especially a first generation entrepreneur.
Correct.
If you're a second or a third generation, you might have a lot of learnings already through your family. In that case, you might not need it, right? Because you would have your father, your mother, your wife, or somebody who has gone through the same experiences before you.
Correct.
Might guide you better. But as a first generation, I feel it's extremely important to have a support system to put out the fire. Sometimes you, sometimes someone else. Because entrepreneurship is a game where you have to go long.
Exactly.
It's not a sprint.
Exactly.
Do you agree on this?
I absolutely agree, and a lot of people, a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs have mentioned this, that it's really crucial to have a co-founder, not just for the business but for your, as you said, mental space, and that emotional stability. When you're not feeling, when you're feeling low, that guy is there, he is putting out the work, the other person is putting out the work, and they'll take care of things. So it works both ways, and that is why it is really important to have that kind of thing, because first, the business requires it. You are focusing on one aspect of it, and the other person is focusing on other aspects. So the wheel is constantly moving. Even if one person is not there, the wheel is constantly moving. On that note, we are also looking for a co-founder, someone from tech with strong expertise. We would be happy to have a quick chat over coffee.
क्या बात है, मतलब this is stealing an opportunity. Nice one.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah. It's very I would say it's very honest and very openly you should ask for things that you need in life. और funny चीज़ पता है क्या है जो मुझे बड़ी interesting लगती है? Entrepreneurship is a lot of no's with a very few yes.
Yes.
And still people keep doing it.
Exactly. Because that's what keeps them going. If I reach out to 1,000 people, I know 900 people will say no. 100 people will say maybe. Out of 100 people, maybe 50 people will say maybe. Out of that, only 10 people will say yes for a meeting, and then probably one gets converted. So it's all about numbers. And I always go with the conservative numbers ki yaar, if I'm doing whatever I'm doing, I will get only 1% out of it, whatever it is, even if it is cold reach outs or business or whatever we are targeting. My figure should be so high that I am able to target at least 1% of it. Because let's say if my capability was 100, correct, and if I kept my target as 500, correct, but because of my target I am able to achieve maybe 200, correct, which is way above my capability target, way above my capability or the average target. So that is what pushes you ahead, correct. You're still ahead by a margin than the average, correct. So that is what gives you that edge, and that is what I would like to convey to other people as well, that always keep your targets as high as possible. Even if you don't achieve your targets, it's fine. Nobody is able to achieve their targets, whatever they've promised or whatever they have confirmed. But even if you're able to achieve a fraction out of it, you're way ahead of the average, and that is what will set you apart in life with respect to anything in life, not just business targets or revenue targets or anything. With respect to anything you're playing, you're playing any sports or you're doing anything else. So this rule is applicable to various aspects of life.
Very interestingly said. I think for me it's like entrepreneurship requires more than 100%, period.
Exactly.
That's where the game starts. आप 100% दे रहे हो, then you will fail. आप 100 से ज़्यादा दे रहे हो, then you might have some chance.
Correct.
And the one yes that you're talking about, that one yes is life changing.
Exactly.
उस 1000 no से ज़्यादा value वो one yes.
That's correct. That will just change your life in some way or the other, or that will just give you another direction where to go about. Correct. So it doesn't matter how many no's you get. One yes is enough to take care of all the no's.
So now I want to come to a very important question. As a founder, मुझे ऐसा लगता है, it is very important to solve a right problem.
Correct.
Right. So, and I want you to answer this in two parts. पहली बात, that if you don't solve a right problem, you will fail. That's very imminent, right? And how to figure out a right problem to solve. And when you figure out, I want you to talk about the problem that Zipro is solving right now.
All right. So when it comes to problems, I usually look at problems in a way, if it is worth solving, is one is if it is a real or recurring problem where people are just hacking solutions or looking at different ways, on unorganized, informal ways to solve it. The second is whether it is scalable, correct? Ki if we leverage technology in today's world, if we leverage technology in some way or the other, then can we make it easier, make people's life easier by solving a particular problem. And the third would be probably a lot of people have tried and have failed, and they're not able to crack what it takes to solve this particular problem or any particular problem. Then I think it is worth a shot to take a look at how you can solve this in a much more efficient manner. So that is exactly what we are doing with Zipro as well. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to connect senders, people who want to send parcels from one place to another, with travelers who are already heading to that direction, correct? At some point or the other, there are NRIs who are living outside.
Yeah, nowadays a lot of them.
NRIs are living outside. They want to send something to India, documents, parcels, or anything, or they want to source some products from India, maybe packaged food, sweets during festivals, but they're not able to find the right partners who can carry those, So there are two options right now. Either there is an informal friends and family network, correct, where you need to ask for favors, you need to tap into your network, see if someone is traveling from one place to another. Or there is another segment, which is the shipping companies, where you put in a request, they'll charge you a fee, which is usually a bit higher than what people are open to paying, and it takes about 5 to 7 days if you want to move products on. So that is where Zipro comes in right in between, that we are just trying to bridge the gap. There are travelers, there are about, so if you're talking about numbers, there are about 35 million NRIs living outside all across the globe. Then there are additional 500, 600k students, 1,000 students going outside every year to study for their masters or undergrad studies. Then there are 27 million odd travelers who have gone out of the country in 2024, correct? So, and of course there would be like in that 27 million there would be a lot of business travelers or people who belong to the top 1% of the economy. They wouldn't be open to doing that. But apart from that, everyone is looking for all of them are usually middle class people, budget travelers, looking for hacks to, get some discounts here and there. And that is where we try and position Zipro as, you want to get a discount, become a carrier and take those parcels with you on your trip wherever you're traveling.
So I think it's very interesting to know of a concept like this. I think मैं अगर याद कर पा रहा हूँ तो I had a parcel which I requested, let's say from China, long ago as in 4-5 years back. It took me 28 days to get it.
Correct.
It was just an headphone.
Correct.
Right, and that was with the courier, that I took, I think, the most expensive one in terms of shipping it, and still it took 28 days for the headphone to arrive. And it was just, let's say, a parcel of 2,000, but I was charged like 3,000 just for this thing. So overall 5,000 was the cost that occurred to me. And I'm thinking, if it is taking 28 days for me to receive something, and if Zipro existed back then I would have just, I think, got it in, let's say, max of a week. If somebody because people keep traveling.
So just to give you an example, let's say your headphones were coming down from Beijing to Mumbai, correct? Now there are about 7 to 8 flights, minimum 7 to 8 flights in a month. This is the minimum in a month from Beijing to Mumbai, correct? Out of that, we just need to convince one traveler who's coming there, ki boss, can you get this AirPods or whatever, headphones from this place to this place, and you don't have to go anywhere, correct? You just have to carry it with yourself, and it will be picked up by the receiver. It will be sent to you by the sender at your location. It will be picked up from by the receiver from wherever, from your place or at the airport or wherever it is, correct? And you'll get paid for that, correct? Here, the sender is happy that, I am able to ship the product within 2 to 3 days, correct? I just connected with the guy who's coming, and we are just talking about small parcels. We are not talking about large bags or, parcels up to 1 kg, up to 2 kg, small parcels which can be carried in hand baggage or, in your bags. So it becomes much more easier. The problem which we are trying to solve is not as big. People are not aware because the market is pretty unorganized. But once people start taking note of it, once the word spreads out, then it becomes easier for us to convince people also to become carriers, correct? That once the supply and demand matches, then it's all about execution, correct? And we are just the platform connecting these two parties together to make sure the movement of goods are done in a most cost efficient and eco-friendly manner.
Got it. So I'm going to break it down for a very layman here. मैं जापान जा रहा हूँ. Let's say I am planning to go Japan this year. So मैं जापान जा रहा हूँ, and if I want, let's say I'm a carrier. So if I am on your platform listed as a carrier, I'll have to list myself as a carrier.
That's correct.
Right? So step one is that if I'm interested in, let's say, earning or monetizing my travel, that would be my basic requirement.
Correct.
That I'm going to Japan and I would list myself in Zipro as a carrier.
Absolutely.
Once I list that this is my date of travel, I would be notified, okay, if you're going, this is the parcel that you need to take, and what will be the commission that you will get out of it, or what will be the benefit that you will get out of it in terms of money.
Correct.
And then I go to Japan, and when I go to Japan, I have to deliver it to the person, let's say, to the exact address, or I have to ship it or drop it at some Zipro thing. Can you give clarity on that?
Got it. If you want to be a carrier, you download the app, correct? Once you download the app, you go to the carrier dashboard and you upload your details. Since you're the first time you're just signing up, this is the first time you're doing it, so you have to upload your basic documents, which is the simple 1-minute KYC process where you need to upload 2-3 documents, your Aadhaar card, passport, and your bank account details for payments. Once we have that, we verify the account, verify the details backend. If everything is check, then we we onboard you as a carrier on our platform, and you'll be redirected to the carrier dashboard. Once you are on the carrier dashboard, you can just add your route. Let's say you're traveling from Mumbai to Tokyo, correct? So you put in I'm traveling from Mumbai to Tokyo, and this is my travel date, this is my return date, and you upload it, correct? And once you create that route, you activate that route. So once you activate your route, you start getting all the orders, correct? Okay, these are the orders which people have received. Someone wants to send something from Mumbai to Tokyo, or someone wants to someone wants to buy something from Tokyo to Mumbai, and we are talking about small parcels categories, very specific categories. We are talking about documents, we are talking about small 1-2 piece of clothing or packaged food, correct? So let's say someone has placed an order from Mumbai to Tokyo. They want to send something, where you accepted the request. The sender gets a notification that Neeraj has accepted your request and he's traveling to Japan, and he can carry your parcel with you. You will get the receiver the sender confirms it. Then the carrier gets a confirmation from the sender, and you get details of the sender as well as receiver. Now the sender has to send the product to your place, wherever you are residing in Mumbai, to your place. You will verify the content of the parcel, whether everything is in there as confirmed on the order. You take that parcel with you, and you coordinate with the receiver, correct? Whichever part of the city you are in, probably at a hotel or probably at someone's place, your relatives or whatever it is, and the receiver will get it picked up, or they'll pick it up themselves from there. So as a carrier, your role is just from moving whatever you're doing, just go about your business from one place to another, and the sender will send it to you and the receiver will collect it from you.
So basically, I have to not deviate from my route.
No.
Everything is coming to me. So that is the clarity that I need.
Exactly.
Got it.
So since you are a carrier, we would want to make things, because you're traveling, as you understand, a lot of people are anxious with respect to international travels. There's security check-in, there's immigration, then there's multiple things you have to go through. So till the time people are not inside the flight, they're anxious. Correct? I know a lot of people like that. My family members are also like that. So you need to make it as efficient and smooth for them to carry it. Correct? Otherwise, they wouldn't be open. If they have to go all the way out of their way to collect a parcel or to deliver the parcel, they'll be like, no, it's not.
That's a lot of resistance.
Yes. So we want to keep it and for the senders, the most important thing is moving the product from one city to another. Correct? Within the city is not a problem. Their main problem is moving the product from Mumbai to Tokyo, and not within Mumbai or not within Tokyo. Correct? So that is what we are solving, the mid-mile initially. Of course, as and when the Zipro network grows, correct, we would be able to facilitate the first mile and last mile deliveries as well through our internal network only. Correct? And this is the community which we are trying to build, correct, of travelers and NRIs. Probably we are targeting NRIs at this point. That would be our initial target, because NRIs are the people who require these services, correct? And there's nothing like that as of now yet. There are a few players who are doing similar stuff, but they're more shopping focused. Like someone wants to shop something, they place an order, and some traveler is coming here, they'll get it with them, correct? While we are more delivery focused. If you want to send something also, we'll get it done. If you want to shop, we'll get it done for you through our set of carriers.
So I'm going to relate it to 2-3 important points that I've noticed in this whole problem that you're trying to solve. Is basically peer-to-peer delivery, and you're helping people monetize that travel.
Correct.
जहाँ पे वो वैसे ही पैसे भर ही रहते हैं.
Correct.
And what I see very interestingly is that this whole global world is now becoming less of borders.
Correct.
ठीक है. And the more important thing is I travel a lot. Like I've done a lot of solo travel, and I have a lot of friends who are nomads living in different countries. Right? Food is a major issue. A lot of small things that you need from India, once you are out, you can't, because as you said, it's very expensive and it takes a lot of time. तब तक आप return ही आ जाओगे जब तक parcel पहुंच रहा है.
Correct.
Right? But this whole trend of traveling is increasing day by day. You see a lot of travel creators, right? And for these people to start with, nobody's giving them any payment to travel.
Correct.
When they are creating content, or there are a lot of people who want to travel, but there is budget constraint. So I think Zipro solves two problems here. कि अब जितना जो मेरा emerging trend रहा है of let's say travel content creator, firstly they can monetize their travel.
Absolutely.
At least some cost of it. And then the second one is what I spoke to you about right now, कि हम जितने भी ऐसे लोग हैं जो कहीं ना कहीं अपना पैसा बचाना चाहते हैं for let's say small party or a gig or something where I am maybe let's say even traveling inside Mumbai. Correct. Or intercity. Correct. Then that's also helping. So it is going with the trend, I would say.
Absolutely. See, so what happens is, I'll just give you an example. Like in India, there are a lot of the middle class population is the core of the country.
Yeah, it's
correct?
a major population.
That's the major population. So people would want to travel light, and they want to travel on they usually travel with a budget.
Yeah.
Correct. That this is what I'm looking to spend, and this is what I would like to keep it to. So what happens is when you come up with different kinds of schemes, options and discounts for them, it becomes interesting for them. Okay, I will do this. If I do this, then I'll be able to do that. I'll be able to add more activities during my trip or whatever it is in some way or the other. So that is what we are trying to explain. You'll see a lot of people while booking their flight tickets through different,
Payment
aggregators,
yeah.
They look for deals, correct? Whichever is the cheapest, there's no brand loyalty here, correct?
Yeah.
Whichever offers me a cheapest deal, I'll get it done. After booking the tickets, that aggregator will throw multiple options at you. Like they'll start cross-selling, buy an insurance, book a cab, book this, additional things apart from add-ons. They are classified as add-ons. Along with that, if a notification like this goes through, become a Zipro carrier and get probably $20 or 2,000 rupees or 2,500 rupees, whatever X amount, correct? It becomes interesting for the for the passenger, correct? Because they were any which ways looking for a deal, correct? People look for different credit cards to get that 500, 700 knockoff from their overall ticket, correct? So if you give them this amount, it becomes more interesting for them. So that is where we want to tap into, like through strategic partnerships with different aggregators. If we leverage that, we would have enormous supply. And then once we have that supply, then the world is our oyster. We can just, whichever part of the world you want to send the parcel or you want to get the parcel from, we can get it done, because we have that kind of supply and we just have to match it with the right kind of demand.
But ये बड़ी interesting सी चीज़ बोली, because I feel this is such a very good relatable example is that मैं अगर 500 रुपये बचा रहा हूँ, instead of saving that $500 and even if you get that deal, तो वो 500 तो बच ही रहे हैं. And when you travel,
on top of it, you are saving more.
$2,000 or
exactly.
$2,500, whatever it is. कि एक मैं अगर average ticket की भी बात करता हूँ, so it would be a good proportion of the cost.
Exactly. So at least with one parcel, we are trying to keep it at least to about 10 to 20% of your one-way ticket to that destination. That is what our goal is, to give it to the carrier. See, we can keep the pricing as low as $10 or $5, but the pricing has to be enticing enough for the carrier to carry it as well, correct? I am thinking about the sender. I'll give it to them at a very cheap cost, correct, as compared to our competitors. But it should be worthy enough for the carrier as well, correct? So we just need to find the right balance between it. The price should be enticing enough for the carrier, and it should be cheap enough for the sender. And that is where the sweet spot comes in, and that is what we are looking to target.
I think मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि most of the crowd that is traveling outside is either Gen Z students, vacation travelers जो छुट्टी पे जा रहे हैं,
family, everyone.
Yeah. But I think the major chunk would be younger crowd.
Yes.
Because and those people are the one who would be very excited to earn, because they don't have any, let's say वो pocket money पे survive कर रहे हैं.
Exactly.
Right? This is the audience that would want to actually monetize their trip.
Correct.
And in this generation, क्योंकि I am a creator as well, तो मेरे को बहुत सारे ऐसे messages आते रहते हैं that what are the easy ways to earn, या फिर what can we do as students. So this is something that you can do as a student if you are traveling abroad. Wherever Zipro is available, I'm sure you guys are expanding and a lot of visibility will be there to Zipro. You can use this. It's like you're not doing anything extra to
no extra money. Additional effort.
Yeah.
You just tap in, you just download the app, update your trip details. If there's an order, just accept it and just carry the parcel with you on the destination. It's as simple as that. And for the carrier, for the sender as well, and people living outside, they require things like they require food products from India, or they want some medicines, or they want to send some medicines from Western part. There's a lot of medicines coming into India, correct? It's a very tricky space, correct? We need to make sure that we are the kind of products which we are dealing in is as per the legal norms across the globe, and not just for India. Correct. So this is what we are focusing on. That is why we are just focusing on specific categories. Categories like documents, clothing, 1-2 piece of clothing, food products, some sort of medicines, of course, with prescriptions, so that in case you're asked to show the prescription, you have that. And of course, we well within the custom limits. Correct. We don't want to ship expensive or luxury products from year to year, because that attracts custom duties which you have to pay.
So I have understood what kind of a problem you're trying to solve as a founder. And what I'm now interested to know, I think just one aspect of it to touch base is, if I compare a traditional way of sending towards you, if you can give me a ballpark of like what is the disparity in terms of cost, and it can be just multiple of numbers like 3x, 5x cheaper than that. And the second aspect would be the time saving that I have. Like, can you give me some insights on that?
Very recently, one of my friend wanted something from India to London. So it was a packaged food. So he had put in a request. The traditional shipping companies were charging him approximately 150 pounds, if I'm not wrong. And the timeline, and it was a very small package. It was under 1 kg, if I'm not wrong.
Got it.
And it was a very small package, and they were charging him 150 pounds, and they were taking about 7 to 8 days to get the delivery done. Correct? We did it within 3 days, and we just paid the carrier about 30 pounds or so, and the carrier was happy with it, and my friend was happy with it that he got the product within 3 days. Because see, from Mumbai to London there are about 8 flights a week. Correct? You just need to convince one person to carry that parcel.
True.
And if we hit that person, it's all about hitting that person. If we hit that one person, we can get the job done.
Yeah, I get it. Like the uniqueness of this thing, we saved, like it got done in 3 days, right? Ideally, what would be the time if the friend would have gone with a traditional way of doing it?
They quoted him 7 to 8 days.
7 to 8 days.
Yes.
So we saved almost 60% of the time.
60% of the time and at 20% of the cost.
Wow. So yeah, that's quite a difference.
Again, the pricing was it was priced just to be enticing enough for the carrier.
Got it. Because you guys are starting out and there are other stuff. But I'm very interested that this is going towards a direction where I think the global economy is going, the mindset of people is going, because people are traveling more so they can carry more. And if it's cost effective, it saves my time, then why wouldn't I do it?
Exactly.
And if I can just earn through it and I'm not doing anything extra to do it, then it's an absolutely steal deal.
Absolutely. See, with the e-commerce boom, with the cross-border e-commerce boom, there's a lot of potential. Now, a lot of small mom-and-pop stores, small brands, they are able to ship products globally, and people want those kind of things. Like someone sitting out of New York, he wants those handcrafted looms from Jodhpur or various different parts of India, correct? And it can be easily shipped because of open borders with respect to having different trade pacts and treaties. It has become much more easier to send products. So now, since it has become so much easier, why not send it through people, correct? It's just a piece of clothing, correct? And of course, you need to be very mindful of illegal things happening here as well, because people will send all kinds of things here, illegal products, restricted, prohibited items, which you can't send across borders. So you need to be very careful with respect to that, and that is why we have nailed down those categories, keeping in mind these are the categories which are widely used. Like these are the categories which is usually ordered or sent by people living across the globe. And we're just focusing on Indians at this point, because Indians, as we are across the globe in huge numbers.
Got it.
And so it becomes easier for us to connect with them, that if someone wants to have that sweet during Diwali, their mothers are making those sweets, so they can just have it sent across through a carrier to their sons or daughters.
See, Indian food is so good that people crave it across the globe.
Exactly.
There is no doubt in it.
Exactly.
And interestingly, I might give you a very interesting insights, like what I have noticed, because when I was recently in Jaipur for Vipassana, there was a lot of foreign crowd with me in that batch, right? And I think interestingly, India se to log bahar ja hi rahe hain. There is a lot of incoming traffic of foreigners in India.
Coming to India.
Very huge. And these people exactly can become traveler or carrier for the parcels or stuff that we want to maybe deliver to Indonesia, Japan, or various international countries.
Absolutely.
And because India is becoming a hub for all of this tourist, which ideally 5 to 10 years back, it wasn't the case.
Correct.
Right? So I think this is a very good opportunity or incubation period where you guys can tap into this network as well.
Correct.
Right? Which is purely foreigner also.
Correct.
And these people can serve the NRIs outside, which are
Correct.
students, Indians, whatever. And that can become a very, beautiful harmony.
Absolutely. You gave us another source of supply now.
So I want you to answer, I think, which is a major concern right now, is about scams and frauds.
Correct.
Like, I can become a carrier, but how do you ensure like Neeraj is gonna deliver maybe the same parcel or not tamper with it? How can I ensure that there's nothing tampered with my goods?
Excellent question. So see, trust is the most important thing in a peer-to-peer network kind of a business or a model, correct? So we try to refine our security measures every now and then in the most efficient manner. So this is how we do is we give user verification. So first of all, whichever sender or a carrier comes on the platform, they go through a quick KYC process. They upload their documents. We have all their documents. We review them. We verify them. Only if it is verified and it is approved, it is matched our standards, we approve them as a sender or a carrier, correct? If we think that there is any discrepancy, we notify them that, this particular document is not proper and you need to resubmit a different one or whatever it is. And only once we have it, and only then they get directed to the dashboard. Second thing is the payments. So whenever a sender makes a payment, the payment comes to us, and then only once the delivery is done, correct, the payment has been released to the carrier, correct? So this is where we ensure that the carrier cannot run away with the product or whatever it is, because their money is with us, correct? And the third is, we are trying to incorporate this in our product as well, where we give ratings, based on the past experiences, past orders, whatever you have done. We try to create a profile of that user, correct? That this particular user has sent probably 20 items. All of them, the carrier was happy with it. On the flip side, this carrier has done about 70-80 deliveries, correct? And this is what ratings he received from the senders.
Just like in Uber.
Oh yeah, any peer-to-peer network, like in Airbnb you have that, BlaBlaCar you have it, where ratings that gives you that additional cushion for the carrier as well as sender, that they both know who the other party is, correct? And that is where we bring the trust factor in, correct? And when it comes to scams and frauds, what we are trying to do is, we don't want to ship anything illegal. We don't want to deal with any, we don't want to compromise on any legal aspect of, any country, correct? That is why focusing on specific categories helps us limit that kind of liability, correct? If you're only shipping documents, the person knows that it's just documents, they can verify it. And when the sender hands over the product to the carrier will verify that whatever the product details were shared by the sender on the platform, is it matching or not, correct? If he thinks that there is any discrepancy with respect to the product, if there is anything wrong or anything different about the product, they can choose to not accept that order, and they can decline the order at that point as well, correct? Because it doesn't match the specifications mentioned by the sender on the app while placing an order, correct? So these are a few things which we are trying to work on, and of course we'll keep refining our security measures to make it more efficient, to avoid these kind of situations where we are compromising on the carrier's liability in any way, correct?
So if I can reflect upon this, I understood that the money is on hold till the point the parcel is delivered. Let's suppose if somebody as a carrier just takes away my parcel. There are a lot of carriers right now in the market, let's say any traditional one, is they give you an insurance based upon the package value.
Yes.
So is it something that you guys have also incorporated?
Yes. So we are in touch with a few insurance company providers. It's just a third party insurance which you have to buy while placing an order. So it just comes at a very nominal premium fee which you have to pay on top of it, and your product is insured, correct? We are only taking products worth value of up to 20,000 rupees for international deliveries. Yeah. And you can buy that insurance while placing an order, and if there is any issue with respect to your parcel, if the carrier runs away or if it is damaged in some way or the other, then the insurance can take care of it. The insurance company can take care of it.
Yeah, I now got, I think दोनों aspect cover हो गए यहाँ पे. It covers both the aspect of me having the trust with the carrier.
Correct.
Because he would not earn until he delivers.
Correct.
And if he runs away, then the insurance part kicks in. So we are assured in both the sense.
Correct.
Noted. So now I want to take you back, because I've understood what kind of a problem you're trying to solve with Zipro and how it works and stuff like that. I want to go to that side of Akshay where you did not had the idea of Zipro, and I know you're solving one more problem with Zipro, which is the sustainable future, because we're moving towards it.
Correct.
So I want to make it a two-part question for you. Firstly, I want you to tell me कि ये idea कब आया, and why did you think this is a problem worth solving? And then I want you to connect it with the sustainable part of the future, because that is a major concern, and this is also something on which I gave a TED talk.
Correct.
Right. So I would love you to answer that.
So this idea came out of frustration of my friends and family, and even mine as well. Correct. When I was living outside, for my masters, my mother wanted to send a lot of food products here and there during festivals, but the best option was the informal friends and family. If someone is traveling, they can get it. A couple of times, a few of my relatives were traveling, they got it. But apart from that, if she wanted to send something, there was no other option, correct? The other option was, of course, the shipping companies, and they were charging a bomb. If she wanted to send a box of sweet, correct, the box costs about maybe 300-400 rupees, correct? And the shipping fees was about 8,000, 9,000 rupees. It wouldn't make sense to send that product through a shipping company, and it was taking about 2-3 days, and you never know during transit the sweets may get spoiled or something or the other, correct? And then there were a lot of people. So there are a lot of people who are traveling also in that direction. So why not? And from Mumbai itself, from the same city, they're traveling to the same city where I am residing. So why can't they get there? Correct. That is when it occurred to me that, even while I was traveling, if someone wants something, I used to ask people, correct. If someone wants something, please let me know. I'm traveling from London to Mumbai and I'll get it for you. And people used to send me their requests, and I used to get a lot of them, correct. Ki mere liye ye le aana, get something for me, get this box for me, get that for me, get this perfume for me, or whatever it is, correct. So that is when I realized that there's a lot of demand already there, and there's a lot of supply as well, correct. People are moving from one place to another from the same city itself. So why don't we leverage these existing travel routes, okay, rather than creating a different delivery route? How does a delivery happen, correct? When you're talking about a shipping company, let's say you place an order, the shipping company gets the order, the delivery guy comes to your place, the delivery guy out of his way comes to your place, picks up the parcel, he goes to the local warehouse. Then from the local warehouse, he goes to the central warehouse within the same city. Then the central warehouse, he goes to the airport warehouse. And from the airport, it gets loaded on the flight, correct? And the same thing happens in the destination city.
Correct.
So you see there are multiple touch points already, correct? So what we are trying to do is we are trying to eliminate all of these touch points, correct? For you as a sender, it would be just one. I have sent it to this company, now it's their responsibility. But what goes behind the scenes is a lot, correct? It is unnecessary pressure on the delivery system as well, correct? So what we are trying to do is we're trying to eliminate all of these things and just leverage the existing travel routes and not create a new delivery route altogether. There are already 3 travelers going, correct? There's already 3 existing traveler routes happening there. And there's another one, correct? Those 3 guys, they have to go, that's why they are going, correct? They have some work or whatever it is. It's not as if they can't go. But this guy can be stopped, correct? The delivery route can be stopped if we give the parcel to the guy who's already going there. So this is what we are trying to build.
Very interesting. I think typically जो cost होता है वो इसलिए ज़्यादा भी होगा because it's a lot of time because the fuel of flight is extremely expensive.
Absolutely.
And the second problem it causes is that with the air couriers and stuff like that, let's say air parcel, you're doing even more carbon emissions.
Absolutely.
Right. So I'm trying to optimize the human intervention here कि एक तो पहला मेरा logistics का part ठीक हो जाए. And what I'm saying यहाँ पे अक्षय ना कि ये जो problem solving हो रही है ना, it has come from a personal journey. Right, similar to us as a creator, I was like, okay, ठीक है, there is a lot of problem that people face. They don't know what to do, they don't know how to strategize, they don't know maybe where to shoot, how to shoot, and what works, what does not work. How do you create a personal brand? And whenever they go to an agency or some place, they're just given n number of things which might not work for them, right? And they don't have any relationship built there.
Correct.
And I wanted to ensure the same thing. We have a relationship manager, there is one touch point. You don't need to communicate with the editors or the X number of logistics that is happening behind the scenes.
Exactly.
And that person is growing your brand and knows your brand.
Correct.
Similarly, what you are trying to do, what I'm trying to do, Social Symphony, and what you are trying to do at Zipro is again coming from our personal experiences of facing those issues.
Exactly.
Right.
And then connecting those dots.
Exactly.
And that is how, ideas get transformed. See, there are multiple ideas to work on, correct? It's how you execute them. Like we both can have the same idea, but we both will have different ways of execution. Probably you would go at 100 and I would go at 50, correct? And that is what the difference is all about. Execution is the key here.
I'm picking a very interesting trait here. यहाँ पे ना, as a founder, I feel this कि जो problem आपने बहुत करीब से face की होती है ना, उसको आप सबसे अच्छे से solve कर सकते हो.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Yeah, if you have faced that problem first time, then it becomes much more easier for you to solve it.
Exactly, because you exactly know कि इसका pain point क्या है.
Correct.
राइट यू फेस इट कि मैं बाहर था यार 300 रुपए की मिठाई के लिए मेरे को 9-10 हज़ार डालने पड़ रहे हैं, which makes no sense.
Correct.
And मैं ही एज अ Zipro उस टाइम पे थी नहीं, but you were working exactly like the model of Zipro कि यार कोई आ रहा है तो अक्षय को बोलो
कोई लेके जा रहा है, informal network
exactly. But network तो था.
हाँ.
And you realize it कि अगर मैं हूँ, मेरे ऐसे कितने लोग हैं, right, doing the same thing, and if I can get earned through it, then
why
nothing
not?
Like it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And
my trip cost is saved. Yeah. If my one way London ticket is 30,000, if I'm getting paid, if I pick up 2-3 parcels, small parcels, I'm sorted. 50% of the cost is gone.
Yeah. And the funny part is that कि मैं इसको entrepreneurship से भी connect कर रहा हूँ कि don't try to solve a problem that is very fancy for you. Thinking कि अच्छा मार्केट इस तरफ जा रहा है तो मैं ये करूँगा. I think solve the problem that is closest to you.
Absolutely, yes.
To be successful,
the idea doesn't have to be fancy or anything.
Yeah.
And in fact, I may not be the right person to solve that particular problem, but that doesn't matter. You just need to start. You just need to try, see where it takes you, how it goes, and then you probably pivot or you do something else. But it will give you enough things to ponder upon, enough things to think about your next steps as well.
So I think you're also indirectly solving the problem of carbon emission. I'm sure you must be aware of numbers. Can you shed some light on that?
So global shipping overall constitutes about 3% of the overall CO2 emissions, which translates to about 1 billion metric tons annually, which is a huge number. And this is what we are trying to see. Every year this number is increasing and increasing and increasing because of the e-commerce boom and deliveries happening from across borders, left, right and center. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to limit this to as much as possible. Of course, we can't quantify it at this point with Zipro, but as and when we grow, our aim is to quantify it to make sure that the carrier knows that this is what they have done. We are working on this aspect where we are trying to quantify the CO2, how much CO2 emissions we have reduced with that particular delivery or with each delivery, how much the carrier is supported. Because that will give you some sort of accomplishment as a carrier as well as a sender that with this delivery I was able to contribute whatever it would be, whatever extent it would be that I've contributed towards the
planet.
Planet.
I think it's a beautiful way to do things. Initially मैं भी सोचा था कि यार क्या planet के बारे में सोचना, as a kid you are not that aware at a very individual level, but now when I see things are moving towards EV and we obviously have very limited resources, right? Whether it's fossil fuel, whether it's time, everything is very limited in life. And the more you value the nature values you.
Absolutely.
It's a very direct linear relationship.
Directly, yeah.
So if we can obviously take this route of doing things in a better way and it's cost effective, it is much cheaper as well in terms of time as well, then what other beautiful way to do it?
Exactly.
Right.
Correct.
So I think last question that I would love to ask you, Akshay, to summarize this whole podcast, because we have talked about the mindset, we have talked about what Zipro is trying to do, we have talked about कि एक founder को क्या रखना चाहिए अपने दिमाग में. If I ask you this thing about anybody who's trying to build something, you're trying to build Zipro, or let's say to summarize it, trying to solve a problem at a global level, what would be your raw, unfiltered advice to that person? He can be first generation entrepreneur, second generation, third generation, whatever it is. But as per your experience so far, what should be your one-liner or two-liner for that person?
Never sleep on ideas. If you have an idea, just
Love
go
that.
for it. Even if you're working, you're doing a job or you're doing some other business or whatever it is, start building, start with your research. Okay, do your basic research, start speaking to your first potential customers who you see would be buying that product or that service, and you'll get enough insights. No report or available online would give you any insights, would give you more insights than what insights you'll get after speaking to a potential customer. So yeah, the best thing to do is just start working on it and start building on it and see where it takes you. Of course, then you can take a call. If it is shaping up in a really good manner, then you can probably put down your papers and leave that job and start working on it full time. Correct? Or if you're working at a different business, then you can focus more effort and energy if it is giving you a more fruitful outcome here. So the most important thing is never sleep on ideas, and everyone gets that idea. Everyone gets ideas on a daily basis. If you're looking for it, you will be coming across multiple problems where you can find solutions. Correct? So you never ever should sleep on an idea.
So I think that was a very beautiful summarization to the podcast. And I tell this to my team and to everybody that this is the line I love is execute more, think less. because you eventually figure it out.
Exactly. You just there are 10 problems. So this is how I figure. There are 10 problems which I have to sort at this point, right? There are 10 problems I can think of which I have to sort out for Zipro. What I do is whichever has the most impact, which can solve them first, which will be more meaningful.
Exactly.
Get after them, and then the other things will just fall in place. And you just have to tackle one problem at a time. You cannot tackle all 10 of them, because then you'll be at all over the place. Correct? So the most important thing is picking the right problem, working on it, and just moving on to the next. And whatever aspect of the life you are in, whatever you're doing, it's all about solving those problems. Correct? There would be problems thrown at you left, right, and center. Even if you're working at a job or you're building a business, or whichever aspect of your life you are in. Correct? Doesn't matter. You will be thrown problems. It's just that you have to get used to it and start solving them. And that is what will give you answers for the next step. Correct? Once you've solved one problem, that will give you probably solve 3 other problems, and then you'll be down to only 2 or 3 problems.
Now that I'm thinking, life itself is a problem solving, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think I absolutely loved it, Akshay, and it was an awesome, fun experience for me to get inside head of a Marwadi who's trying to build dhanda, I would say, Zipro, I would say.
Yeah, profitable business only, guys.
Business, yeah. And I think that's the mindset that is needed to be in the momentum.
Absolutely.
And thank you for giving your time.
My pleasure.
That's the point.
Thank you so much.
You guys have been giving insane love in terms of season 2 of Dream with Neeraj Show. एक चीज़ बहुत ज़्यादा मोटिवेट करती है, और जो कि फ्री है बाय द वे, इज योर सब्सक्राइब. सो जाओ सब्सक्राइब करो. आई विल सी यू इन द नेक्स्ट वन. अंटिल देन कीप रीडिंग माय फ्रेंड्स.